Welcome back to Des Moines. The dazzling marina is home to large sailing yachts as well as small fishing boats for family fun. There's also a variety of fresh seafood restaurants and boutique shopping in the downtown Marina District. It's a really cute little place right here on the waterfront. Gorgeous place to be on a day like today.
Yeah, we love it here so far, and a gorgeous, like I said, Wednesday sunrise was awesome. The city manager is also with us live here. We've had a lot of visitors here at Auntie Irene's Coffee Shop on Marine View Drive. Michael Matthias is the city manager. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, a pleasure. Thank you.
So we've heard quite a few issues this morning from residents of things, issues facing the community here. I've often heard of this as a community in transition. What does that mean?
Community in transition. So Des Moines has historically been a suburban community, and we're transitioning to a more urbanized type of environment with a lot of infrastructure. The light rail is now providing access to Des Moines. There's a new station at Angle Lake. There'll be other stations at Highline College in the south in the city. 509 project is up and running. We're doing frontage improvements along 216. We have a business park that now employs about 4,000 to 5,000 people, and we have a community shuttle with Metro to bring people downtown and enjoy restaurants and shops. We're working on marina redevelopment and looking at ways to connect the marina with the downtown. We have some really exciting projects happening, and we're trying to grow but maintain the quality of life for our residents.
You know, Michael, one of the things that people are concerned about here is the air traffic noise. SeaTac is growing like crazy. We've done so many stories on that. It's not going to slow down, which means there's just more planes coming through to SeaTac and over Des Moines. What's your response to the people's concerns about what's being done about this?
That's absolutely a concern, and one of the things about Des Moines and some of our surrounding cities, Burien, SeaTac, Normandy Park, and others, is that although the airport provides regional economic benefits, there's a disproportionate focus of impacts on the cities adjacent to the airport. So we're doing everything we can to work with the airport. They're also looking at expanding through a sustainable airport master plan, and we will be commenting on the environmental impacts associated with that potential growth at the airport. And we participate on a number of different committees and with the state and with the federal government to find ways to minimize those impacts on our residents, and it's a challenge.
Yeah, that is a big challenge. Also, the police chief recently talked about his efforts to try to beef up some patrols, maybe on the waterfront. There's been quite a few incidents, over the last few months in this particular area. What can you tell folks about staying safe here in Des Moines?
Well, I think the primary focus of our police department is public safety and to assure the safety of our residents, our visitors, and everyone. And the current police chief is just amazing focus on operations and on ways to utilize the force in the maximum way to provide protection and safety for everyone. So we've been very pleased with some of the initiatives that he's been providing for us.
Michael, what are you most proud of Des Moines when you want people to come here and check out your city and they've never been here before? What do you say?
Everything.
If you had to choose one thing.
But especially, that I think the marina provides access to the sound in a very unique way. We have the beach park next to the marina allowing for events. And I'm proud of that, but also proud of the leadership of our city council and mayor, very progressive in terms of moving forward into like what the future is for us, and the future is bright. So I think those are the opportunity is what I'm proudest and most excited about.
I've only known you for probably 15 minutes, and I can tell you're an optimist. So Michael Matthias, the city manager of Des Moines. Is it Des Moines or Des Moines?
Des Moines to me.
All right, there we go.
Another one.
You're with the minority, though. We're in the minority this morning. But
thank you so much.
We appreciate your time.